There are certainly examples of graft and extravagance in Reconstruction governments, but there are also positive accomplishments, such as the dramatic improvements in Southern education.
It's only with the Reconstruction government, the very first governments that have black representatives in them, where you get constitutions that establish public schools.
Usually segregated schools, but schools at least, and in many of the northern states, integrated schools. For the first time. During slavery, it had been illegal in most of the South even to teach a black, even a free person of color, to read and write. Some of it had gone on, but it had been technically illegal.
It is clear that African Americans want a stake in Southern society. They want their own land. At first, the Freedmen's Bureau grants land from abandoned plantations to thousands of black families.
A lot of Northerners correctly believe that the South, at least in my opinion, correctly believe that they were treasonous, that they had declared war on the United States, and therefore they had no right to this land. And clearly enslaved people said, well, we've worked the land, so the land is ours. And in some cases, they set up cooperatives, and in some cases, they were able to buy some of this land. Unfortunately, most of the land went back to the former owners.
Northerners had assumed that a free labor system would emerge in which black freed people would work the way Northern wage labor worked.
What would happen is that they would work the land supposedly as wage laborers, and then they wouldn't be paid.
There's literally no money to pay wages because the entire banking system of the South has been destroyed, and there's destruction of wealth in general. So what evolved out of the absence of money was a system of sharecropping. Whites traded access to land and some of the essential agricultural tools to African Americans for a portion of the crop. And out of that, blacks and whites struggled to find some sort of common ground where the South continued to produce cotton. Blacks made a little bit, whites made a little bit, and theoretically it was a system of shared interests.
And they find themselves in debt all the time because they've worked the land, but of course they have no mules, they have no plows, they have no equipment, they have no food, so they have to buy that from the landowner, and the landowner charges exorbitant amounts of money for this. The interest rates are, there's no other way to say, but it's criminal, it's usury. In some cases, the interest rates are like 80%. Obviously, at the end of the year, the sharecropper is going to be in debt. So now he's got to work the next year just to get rid of the debt that he incurred the previous year.
The only way to escape in that case was to leave at the dead of night, sort of load up what few material possessions you had and try to get out of county. But if you didn't make it out, then you were dragged back and existed in this sort of state of perpetual debt peonage. So it was a system that too often was highly exploitative. Another way of putting it is nobody who was a sharecropper wanted to be a sharecropper.